Guys of Reddit, what's the creepiest/weirdest way a woman has hit on you? A girl reached out to me on Facebook who lived in my neighborhood. She said she was looking for friends and asked to meet up. Being new to the hood myself, I said sure. We met at a bar and she was a little troll of a woman. Not only was she fat and ugly, she just had a nasty personality and complained about everything. I tried to be nice about having other plans and needing to go, but she followed me. I awkwardly let her tag along to a friend's house. When we arrived, within 10 minutes, my friend soured on her and the host pulled me aside and said, "You gotta get her out of here." I offered to drive her back to her house, and when we arrived, she asked me to come in. I politely declined, and she said I could do whatever I wanted to her. I had no desire to do anything, so I said thanks, but no thanks. Then she said she wasn't getting out of the car unless I came inside and got a blowy. After more deliberation, I said okay and followed her to the door. She had a picket fence with a gate out front, so as soon as I went through the gate, I closed it and ran back to my car. She had a picket fence with a gate out front, so as soon as she went through the gate, I closed it and ran back to my car. She started yelling and screaming at me and tried to open the doors, which I had quickly locked. I tried to pull out of the space, but she blocked me in. I backed up onto the curb to get around her, and she pushed in my side mirrors and bent my antenna, screaming obscenities as I peeled out. 0 out of 10 would not pay the troll toll again. We now have a Discord. Check out the server in the link in the description. Story 2. I've told this before, but when I was a bouncer at a dive bar during an incredibly cold winter, I had a woman sit in a booth closest to the door where I had to be, and fillet each and every fry of an entire large basket while attempting to hold my eye contact. I mean, I could see someone doing that on 1 or 2 fries while trying to be frisky, you know? It's a little weird, but whatever. But she stared me down and filleted about 1.5 pounds of fries, sucking and licking each one while staring right at me. She did not have the coy glance down at all. This was almost aggressive. Pretty much a violent act perpetrated on a potato directly at me. It went on for over half an hour, and I was a captive audience because I had to be at the door, and it was like 8 degrees outside. You gotta say something about her commitment, though. A whole basket of 1.5 pounds of fries? That's gotta be, I don't actually know how many fries that would be, like 50? Maybe more? Depends how big the fries are, I guess. But either way, that's some commit. Maybe that's just how she liked to eat her fries and you got in the way, OP. Ever think of that? Maybe not everything is about you. Story 3. Preface. My oldest sister is 15 years older than me and moved away when I was 4. I'm 18, in college, working nights in a convenience store. Around 6:30 one morning, a woman walked in looking like she had been hit by a truck. She sees me and asks, "Hey, are you blanks brother?" I am. "I'm Lulu. I'm a friend of your sister. We went to high school together." I asked if she was okay. "Yeah, my husband beat me up." "Wow, can I call the police for you?" "No, but you could give me a ride to the insert cheap hotel where certain women let rooms by the hour." Okay, I get off work in 30. I drive her there and wait while she secures lodging." "Want to come in?" "No, thanks. I think I want to go home, grab a beer, and just get some sleep, you know?" "Know what I want? I want a good banging, and I think you're the guy to do it." She has 2 black eyes, a missing tooth, and bloody lips. Oh, and let's not forget the psychopathic husband roaming around. I noped the hell right out of there and have never regretted the decision. This sounds like a woman who needs some help in more ways than one. I'm wishing the best for her. Good call though, OP. I don't think that would have ended well in any way at all. Story 4. I used to drive a limo, well, a sedan service, but it wasn't a stretch. I picked up a rich, drunk, middle-aged couple, and the woman got her face up between the front seats and stared at me for a few minutes, and then she said, "So, do you want to bang tonight?" I didn't say anything, pretending she was not talking to me, and I met her husband's eyes in the mirror. He was just rolling his eyes and shaking his head sadly. When we arrived at their resort, the bellman had to literally drag her out of the car. Story 5. When talking about which apartments we lived in, she showed me a Google Street View of her apartment and directions how to get there. She joined the gym she knew I worked out at, even though it was way out of the way for her. She knew nothing about baseball until I told her I was a fan and then became a huge fan of my favorite team. Totally shifted her political views when she found out we're on opposite sides. Did a whole bunch of research on my home city and ended up knowing more history of the city than me. Oh, crap. I think I missed out on my dream girl. It's no wonder I'm still single. Story 6. When I was a 24-year-old ski instructor, a married 16-year-old girl told me she wanted to sleep with me. I told her that A, she was married, B, she was underage, and C, the last thing I wanted to do was get a teenage girl pregnant. She came back a few weeks later with documentation proving she was on the pill, her divorce papers and photocopied excerpts from a law book, clarifying that the age of consent laws do not apply when a person is married or has been married. The girl did her homework. Well, that's mildly disturbing, but also impressive. She knew what she wanted and she knew how to get there. Obviously, I don't think it worked, but she took the right steps, I think. Still weird. I would not. Story 7. When I was in high school, I had a girl hit on me by saying how much she liked my ears. I was sat playing computer games waiting for my mom to turn up, and I'm like, okay? Going right back to whatever Flash game I was playing. She asked if she could take a picture of them. I just sort of let out another, okay, and she did. I slyly messaged my mom asking how far away she was. As soon as she got there, I got up and left and said bye as I briskly walked away, not waiting for a response. I didn't realize she was hitting on me until like 4 months later when we started dating. She just didn't know how to flirt, and I had no idea what it was like to be flirted with. OP, I don't think all the training of being flirted with would have helped you here. It's definitely an innovative technique, to say the least. Story 8. Back in college around 1995 or so, this girl I was in a class with became friendly with me. I wasn't all that attracted to her, but she was cool and funny. One day she comes to class and talks about how her stereo's tape player was broken and she couldn't play any tapes. I offered to lend her mine. She gets really happy when I tell her. She says that she just needs my tape deck for a couple of nights. Fine, whatever. The next time we have class together, I bring in my tape deck. She takes it home and I don't hear from her for a week or so. Finally, I ask about my tape deck in class and she dodges my question. I'm starting to get worried. She's had my tape deck for a week now and I miss being able to play tapes. After another week, with her being really friendly to me the whole time, I ask her when I'm going to get it back. She just smiles coyly and then says, "I'm not giving you your tape player back until you ask me out." No. I'm not attracted to her. She's cool, but I'm not interested in going out with her. Plus, that's like emotional blackmail. Knowing that she was capable of that is a huge strike in the minus column. I wouldn't want to go out with someone so manipulative. Long story short, she steadfastly held onto my tape deck for months while we became better friends. Soon she introduced me to some of her friends and I hit it off with one of them. I started dating her and it made tape deck hostage girl furious. She got really jealous. Eventually, she returned it tearfully. She stopped hanging out with me shortly thereafter. We stopped having classes together, and I gradually stopped dating her friend, too. Story 9. In high school, I played in the marching band, and before practice, everyone hung out in the music classroom. I'm just hanging out in my chair, and out of nowhere, some girl sits in my lap, puts her hand on my cheek, and whispers, "I choose you." She said it like Ash says to Pikachu, so it really threw me off. Also, she had a Cheeto in her hand like a cigar, which also kinda threw me off. I did not know what to say, but I got a strong urge to eat Cheetos, so I got a bag from the vending machine. Man, they were good. The spicy kind, too. Story 10. In middle school, there was this girl that used to crush on me hard. I had no attraction to her, so it was mostly just her pestering me constantly. Well, one night while I was out with some friends, she broke into my house and taped over 100 pictures of her face, photoshopped to have her and I together, all over my walls. She thought it was the cutest thing in the world, but I hated her after that. And my parents called the cops. Let me save everyone some time. If you are thinking of flirting or trying to hit on someone and your tactic involves breaking into their house, I would say skip it. Just like, I don't know, put that one aside. Think of something else. Story 11. Some chubby chick came up to me at a bar and very cheeky-like showed me her tongue ring and said she wanted to try it out on me. I had a girlfriend, so I didn't take her up on her offer, but I did broker a BJ for some random dude at the table next to mine. They left together and came back a little later, and the dude bought me a beer. Me and my buddies still have a laugh remembering it. Story 12. At my college bar. Do you have a girlfriend? Yes, I do, sorry. If I got you crazy drunk, would that change things? No, I mean, I'm in a relationship. Lol, okay, I'll catch up with you after a few hours of drinking and see how you feel. What? Story 13. First, she asked me to come over and sleep with her. That's not the creepy part. When I declined, she started describing all of the things she wanted to do with me. That was also not the creepy part. After the second failed attempt, she threatened to give a blowy to the first guy she met if I didn't agree to come home with her. That was bizarre, but it still wasn't the creepy part. Finally, not long after I had left the party wherein this was all occurring, I got a text message from an unknown number. It listed my name, my address, the color of car that I drove, and it was followed shortly thereafter by another message, which read, "See you soon." That was the creepy part. The joke was on her, though, because I didn't go home that night. Story 14. I was getting my school ID taken for community college, shortly before I turned 18. I step out of the room and a heavy 40-something black lady abruptly asks, "Hey, how old are you?" 17. "Boy, you could get a grown woman in trouble." Thanks. And then I took off while my dad chuckled. Also, I was working at an upstate New York coffee/ice cream/gas station shop during the late shift. And when people would come up to the register, I would do my job and ask if they found everything okay, and asked if I could grab them anything else. Well, an old drunk lady living in the trailer park behind the shop pauses, and then goes, "Yeah, I got something you could grab for me." I kind of blink and stammer I'm sorry, what? And then her friend chimes in with, "You're too young and handsome to be asking old women if they need you to grab anything," and then left. Story 15. My friend's boyfriend once had a woman come up to him, squeeze his crotch, and say, "See you later on, big boy." He was walking to work at the time, and it was about 7 in the morning. Also, I once overheard a woman talking about this guy she'd met. How this guy she'd met didn't want to bang her. She said, "I came up to him, took my top off, grabbed his hand and stuck it down my bra, and then told him to meet me in the car park for a good time, and he just walked away." Her friend responded, "Oh, he was probably gay, babes." Just listening to them made me cringe hard. Story 16. Told me she was in love with me the first night we met. Granted, she was pretty drunk, so it might have just been the alcohol talking. There was another woman who forced me into motorboating her, or was she motorboating me? Not sure how that verb works in terms of subject and object, but whatever. Motorboating is fine, but I wasn't ready and she really wasn't my type. She had only just started drinking. Just a tip for the woman in the second one, that's the wrong head that guys want you to lick, but good try. You got the spirit. Story 17. I basically had to deal with the female equivalent of a nice guy for 2 years, so there's that. Basically the classic, "I'm always loyal and there for you, so you're obligated to eventually return my romantic feelings," mixed with social awkwardness, a complete lack of confidence, and basically zero personality outside of, "I'd be such a great girlfriend if you just gave me a chance." Problem is that she was just really unstable too, so it's not like I could just ghost her or really explain everything wrong with her. Plus, I really didn't want to hurt her feelings. Honestly, she got on my nerves, but it would still feel like punching down if I lashed out at her for it. I just dealt with her for 2 years, up until I started a relationship, and she got pissed that all her effort was for nothing. Then I moved to a different place and got the hell away from that. Another tip for everyone out there. No matter how much affection you show someone, or how often you're there for them, they are not obligated to give you anything. Well, anything romantic at least. They should give you respect and everything, as they should give all humans, as long as you're not creepy about it. But they do not have to return your feelings at all. Nice guys, nice girls, nice theys, I don't know. But whoever it is, just lay off. People don't owe you anything, just find someone who wants to give you what you want. Story 18. Years ago, I used to work in the meat department of a supermarket. It was late in the afternoon and I was alone. As I was refilling the case, 2 of my friends who lived nearby stopped to say hi because they were shopping. We are chatting away and I suddenly hear someone loudly yell, "Oh, meat boy!" Then this wannabe cougar saunters over and puts her arm around my shoulder. This woman had to be in her late 50s, was wearing skimpy clothing that left nothing to the imagination, reeked of alcohol and cigarettes, her breath stank of rot, and she had the voice of a dying bullfrog. I say she was a wannabe cougar in that cougars are attractive, and this woman was certainly not. She then says in an attempt at a sultry voice, which her voice was not, "Oh, my meat boy, I need the biggest piece of meat you can get me." Now, my friends are still standing nearby. In fact, they were about a yard away. I keep a professional demeanor and try to politely step away and out of her taloned grasp. It doesn't work. She had a near-death grip on me. I state that I just put some fresh steaks that were on sale into the case. "No, I want a bigger piece of meat." By now, I feel like I need to take a shower in bleach. This woman's arm was still around me as I desperately tried to move away, and my friends are trying their hardest not to laugh. I then blurt out that I will run into our cooler and see what we have. I run in, grab the biggest package of steak I could find, and practically throw it at her in the most professional way I could. "Is this the biggest meat you have?" "It is." "Oh, I was hoping for bigger, but this will do." She walks away. My friends' faces were beet red, and they say, "Have a good day, meat boy," and walk away. They still bring it up to this day. Man, the game Super Meat Boy is a lot different than I remember it. Story 19. I had a girl come up to me at a hot spring and say to me, "See that girl over there?" As she pointed at her friend. She continued, "She wanted me to tell you that she wants your dong inside of her." I was with 3 male friends at the time and my wife. I replied, well, that's certainly straightforward of her, but I don't think my wife would appreciate my dong inside of your friend there. All my single guy friends were kind of upset because they were not approached. Story 20. I was at a club with some friends and we were just casually dancing on the floor when a girl came up and joined us. I could tell that she was into me by the way she gave me looks and danced towards me all the time. She wasn't too bad looking, but I just wasn't interested in hooking up that night. And I also started to feel that something was kind of off about her. She was by herself, by the way. I was wearing a snapback that night, and eventually she pulled the overused stealing the boy's hat to show that I'm interested move. I didn't mind it at first, but soon my friends wanted to move on. So I grabbed my hat back from the girl and followed my friends. 10 seconds later, she ran up behind me and snatched my hat again and ran off. At this point, I'm starting to get irritated. I didn't run after her, but I walked around the crowd and eventually I sneaked up behind her and grabbed the hat back and walked away. She immediately took it back and ran away to another dance floor. This time I ran after her and managed to catch up with her and stop her. And I just said, seriously, just give me back my frickin' hat. Prior to this moment, she was acting all giggly and innocent. But when I said that, her face just went crazy and she looked like a demon. She refused to let the hat go. So I yanked it back really freaking hard from her, the hat almost broke. She was a surprisingly strong young lady, and with the same possessed-looking face as before, she flipped me off and walked away. That is some middle school level flirting, huh? Wait a second, did this happen in a club? How is there room to do this in a club? Must have been a pretty empty night. Story 22. It was in high school. High school itself is full of awkward and bizarre ways people hit on one another, but this one still sticks with me till this day. It was like any other day at lunch. My friends and I were sitting down outside after we ate, enjoying the nice weather. This group of girls that we usually would hang out with for a bit came over and started chatting with us. Although there was this one girl who we'll call Jess, who never really spoke much. That is, until this day. Jess looks at me, walks over and sits down right next to me and stares me in the eyes. I didn't quite know how to process that, so I just looked back at her cold, emotionless, dead eyes, and after about 5 seconds, she finally said, "You smell good." It was just so weirdly timed and executed. Also, everyone in the group heard it. I just said thanks and then walked to the other side of the group. Story 23. My first response to this was, a girl hitting on me? How would that even possibly be weird or creepy? Then I remembered back in school, a girl apparently really liked me, but I wasn't aware. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but somehow I ended up with a letter that she wrote, and it told me not to open it until I got home or something like that. So I opened it up and there's this handwritten 3-page letter, basically amounting to her professing that she really likes me and wants to know if I'll go out with her. So as I'm sitting reading it, I'm thinking, wow, that's awesome. I can't believe anyone would go through all this trouble for me. Not gonna lie, it felt really frickin' good. I remember looking at the options for yes/no. I don't remember if maybe was an option or not. And I felt pretty bad that I was gravitating toward a no. I think the main thing that got me was that she wrote in the letter how she basically had a shrine in her room dedicated to me. At that point, I was like, alright, I think she might be a little more into me than is reasonable. Not gonna lie though, if that same letter had been written by the girl I was crushing on at the time, yeah, I would have been ridiculously happy and said yes in an instant. So yeah, I guess that's it. Honestly, not that bad. And really, anything less overt, I don't usually notice anyway. Yeah, OP, that's pretty overt. Shrine thing is weird. She didn't have to say that. She sabotaged herself there.